Today we're going to start an introduction to logarithms. So we've been talking about exponential functions, and today we want to start the process of reversing an exponential function. So let's start slow. Answer this question. What power of 2 is 8? Well, let me show you how I want to write that. I'm going to write 2, and I wrote power equals 8. That way you're starting to think about, I'm looking at powers of a number. And we know that this answer is 3, because if I write 2 to the third power, I would get 8. So let's get a little bigger. Answer this question. What power of 2 is 32? So again, I'm going to go to that notation where I wrote 2, and then I wrote power as the exponent, and I wrote equals 32. And let's just start with this hint of, let's use our calculators. What I mean by use your calculator is start putting numbers in your calculator. Look at 2 cubed is 8. We know that. Try 2 to the 4th. Try 2 to the 5th. What we want to do is see what number we have to enter as the exponent to get to 32. And I picked something pretty small. So it didn't take you very long, hopefully, to see that this would be 5. That if I raise 2 to the 5th power, I'm going to get 32. So let's change our notation and let's answer this question. What power of 3 is 81? So this is a little bit new and a little bit different. I want you to see that we're going to read this as what power of 3 is 81. Again, I'm still thinking about powers, and that's a big part of what I want to talk about in here is everything is about powers. So I look at 3 and I'm going, well, what power would I raise it to get to 81? Again, you can go back to your calculator, start pushing in buttons, 3 squared, 3 cubed, 3 to the 4th, right? You keep going, and you do find out that 3 to the 4th is 81. So, let's try again. Let's do another one. What power of 5 is 125? Pull out that calculator, start pushing buttons. Again, I'm thinking about what power of 5 is 125, and after you hit a few buttons, you should come to the fact that it's 3. So 5 cubed is 125, right? So let's take a little talk about how my notation is going to change one more time. So here's logarithms, and here's a picture of the guy that really came up with it. So in 1604, John Napier introduced the term logarithm. So this word is a combination of 2 words. They're both Greek words. So the first one is logos, and that's for ratio, and the other one is arithmos, which is number. So this is a ratio, number ratio, right? So that's what we're looking at here. So now, as I proceed, instead of writing the word power, I'm going to use the word log. But I still want you to think about what power, right? So even though we're using this fancy word logarithm, we're thinking, what power of the base are we using? So let's try again. I'm going to make it pretty simple to get through. So let's start looking at 3 to the 7th is 2,187. So if I'm thinking about the log base 3 of 2,187, I want my mind to think, what power of 3 is 2,187? I gave you a big hint because I wrote out 3 to the 7th, so I know my answer is 7. I'm telling you here, 4 to the 5th is 1,024. So if I say, what is the log base 4 of 1,024? Hopefully we see it's 5. So what's happening always is when I ask you log, I call this number that's underneath the base, and then I'm looking for what power of that base gives me this number that I wrote. So let's try again. What is the log base 2 of 16? So think in your head, what power of 2 is 16? Of course, you don't have to just think in your head. You can use your calculator too, push some buttons, and hopefully you get to 2 to the 4th is 16. So that means the log base 2 of 16 is 4. Right. Here's another one. What's the log base 8 of 512? Right? So you're thinking of 8, right? You're thinking of 8, you're putting 8 in your calculator, and you're going 8 to the first power is 1. 8 squared is 64, and you should get that 8 cubed is 512. So the log base 8 of 512 is 3. So let's do a quick check. Let's see how things are going. Remember to think what power as you look at these just 4 logs that I gave you, and I'm thinking definitely use your calculator if you need to, but I want you thinking power for each step. If you need to, you can pause me so that you can try this on your calculator, and then you can come back and just see how you did. So here are the answers. I think they're in order of easy and get a little harder. So log base 7 of 49. I know 7 squared is 49, so that's how I'm getting 2. Then the second one says log 4 of 4. So log base 4 of 4 says what power of 4 is 4? And it almost feels like, what are you asking me? But the answer is 1. If I take 4 and I raise it to the first power, I still get 4. So look at this little trickery that we did now, and I changed it to a fraction. So I said, well, what would I do to 4 if I wanted to change it into 1 over 4? Well, remember our discussion of exponents. We know how negative exponents work. They turn into fractions. So the log base 4 of 1 over 4 is negative 1. 4 to the negative 1 would be 1 over 4. Right. And this last one, log base 9 of 1. Again, thinking back to exponents, and we talked about everything to the 0 is going to give me 1 for our exponents, because we're not doing 0 to the 0, so we're not getting funky there. We just say, what power of 9 would give me 1? And the only way to get there is to have a 0. So this was our quick introduction. We will be doing much more of this, but I just wanted to start small and we'll just add to it.